Hello, this is Dr. Roy Blizzard with Bible Scholars in Austin, Texas. And I have some exciting news that I'd like to share with all of you that are friends and our new friends. We have been working diligently here at Bible Scholars for some time to bring you the best and most up-to-date information relating to biblical studies. And a very interesting thing happened to us here in the last few days. In going through some of our files, we happened to find some archived material that is not only pertinent today, but represents some of the finest biblical scholarship that you'll find anywhere. And I want to tell you just a little bit about what we have, what we're going to be offering to you in the immediate future. As I said, this is all archived material that we had even forgotten that we had. But it so excited us that we wanted to take this opportunity to share it with you. We found in our archives our original Foundations of Faith from 1984 conference that was held here in Austin through the Center for Judeo-Christian Studies. This Foundations of Faith conference consists of 12 tapes that are an hour to an hour and a half each, consisting of some of the top scholars in the world at that time, many of whom still are with us today. Let me tell you just a little bit about them. The scholars represented in this particular conference are Dr. Robert Lindsey, who speaks on the sources for the life of Jesus, Dr. William Sanford Lasore, who speaks on learning from the Jewish interpretation of the Scripture. Neither of those gentlemen are still with us. Then we have Dr. Brad Young with the background to the Lord's Prayer, Dr. Halver Running on God's law, man's faith, and resulting holiness, along with his wife Mirja. We have Dr. Marvin Wilson, who shares with us the subject of Hebrew thought in the life of the church. And then David Biven, the importance of Hebrew and the Hebraic perspective for Christian growth. And then I speak on the community of God in Jesus' day, how it was organized, etc. Now these guys are, as I mentioned, some of the top scholars in the field of biblical studies that exist in the world today. Dr. Robert Lindsey, who unfortunately is no longer with us, was one of the founding members of the Jerusalem School for the study of the Synoptic Gospels, and working closely with Professor David Flusser at the Hebrew University, their discovery into the subject of the Synoptic Gospels has basically changed forever the approach of biblical scholarship to this material. Dr. Lindsey lived for much of his life, 4 decades to be exact, in Jerusalem, and for many years was the pastor of the Narcus Street congregation in Jerusalem. Dr. William Sanford Lasore, he was a long-time professor at Fuller Theological Seminary in California, and held 6 degrees with 2 doctorates. He was a very prolific author and was knowledgeable in as many as 20 different languages. Dr. Marvin Wilson is the Akinga Professor of Biblical and Theological Studies at Gordon College in Windham, Massachusetts, and he is the leader in dialogue between Christians and Jews and has co-edited many books and written numerous articles on Christian-Jewish relations. Dr. Brad Young. Brad earned his PhD at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, where he studied for over 10 years and was a research assistant to Professor David Flusser. And Professor Flusser was the chairman of the Department of Comparative Religions at the Hebrew University and a good friend. I had the opportunity a number of years ago to interview Professor Flusser. And I want to tell you about that interview because you can access that interview now. All you have to do is go to BibleScholars.org, our website, and type in Roy Blizzard interview with David Flusser. And it will bring that up for you at no charge, and you will have the opportunity to watch something like 50-minute interview with the Professor Flusser from the Hebrew University, and again, the chairman at that time of the Department of Comparative Religions. Halvor Running was a Fulbright scholar at the Ruprecht Karl Universität in Germany and a postgraduate student at the Hebrew University in Jerusalem, where he met his wife Mirja. The two of them continue to live in Jerusalem, and Halvor is a licensed guide in Israel, and he and I have done quite a number of things together that we'll mention to you at a later time. David Biven studied at the Hebrew University, specializing in Jewish history and literature. And David is a founding member of the Jerusalem School for Synoptic Studies, and has written over 100 scholarly articles and papers, and as I mentioned, was and is the founding member of the Jerusalem School for Synoptic Studies. You can access all of his material and information online at Jerusalem Perspective. Jerusalem Perspective, which is a scholarly publication that has information relating to all kinds of topics relating to the biblical text. Now, as I mentioned earlier, we have assembled a host of materials that we want to, over the next several weeks, be able to share with you, because the information contained therein, even though it's several years old, is still as pertinent today as it was when it was first produced. Let me share with you just a moment some of the material that we have that we're going to be able to pass on to you in the very near future. First of all, as I mentioned, the Foundations of Our Faith Conference that you are able to purchase now by going to BibleScholars.org and looking for the 1984 Foundations of Our Faith Conference. All of this material is readily available to you now on an MP3 format, and you can download it just as you order. Secondly, we have coming up the 1990 Foundation of Faith Conference that consists of 16 tapes, and with scholars like Professor Cyrus Gordon. Professor Gordon was very knowledgeable in the Semitic languages and a pioneer in the interpretation and the decipherment of the Ugaritic texts from Rosh Hashanah, along with Rachel Levine, Rabbi Herschel Jaffe, Dr. Ken Hansen, Dwight Pryor, and again Dr. Bob Lindsey, and other scholars such as Marty Mann, Dr. William McDonald, me, and Dr. Marvin Wilson, along with my son, Roy III. There are 16 tapes on that particular conference done in 1990 that are going to be readily available for you, for your purchase, for your download, again on BibleScholars.org. Then our third offering is the Foundations of Faith Conference in 1991, again consisting of 16 tapes, and this time with scholars such as Professor Gordon, Dr. Roy Hayden, Dr. Howard Irwin, Dr. Ken Hansen, Dr. Marvin Wilson, Dr. Brad Young, along with Rabbi Herschel Jaffe, myself, and Dwight Pryor. Then we found in our archives something else that we're going to be able to pass on to you that I hope you will be as excited about as we are. It is an Old Testament survey, actual college course, historical and development of the Hebrew text, some 30 tapes, and a study guide of 43 pages that again will be available at BibleScholars.org in the immediate future. Number 5, we have a New Testament survey. We've got the Old Testament survey and we've got the New Testament survey. It's 16 tapes and it will be available in the immediate future. But the next thing I want to share with you, some time ago we published a paper that was called the Yabu Digest, and we published it for a number of years, and it had a lot of articles from many of the scholars that I've previously mentioned, and some that I didn't. But just recently, one of our friends mentioned that she had kept every one of the back issues of the Yabu Digest, which she brought to our office, and we are in the process of scanning every one of the past issues of the Yabu Digest, consisting of 850 to 900 pages. And what we want to do, we want to give you the first 4 or 5 issues that were called, and not the Yabu Digest, but was called by a different name, called Through Their Eyes. And we want to give those to you at no cost. All you need to do is, again, go to BibleScholars.org, and you'll find a place where you can order those publications and be able to download them, again, in MP3 format at no cost. But we're going to have all of the Yabu Digests scanned and ready for you to purchase in a very short period of time. We'll make an additional announcement about it, and hopefully you'll be as excited about them as we are. Then we have a whole series of television programs that I made quite a number of years ago that are still pertinent, still relative, just as they were when they were made, called The Quest. The Quest in Search of the Historical Jesus contains an interview with many of these scholars that we mentioned, Dr. Lindsey, Dr. Brad Young, David Biven, myself, and we also have another series entitled Treasures of the Jewish World. And this particular series is more in the line of a study course that will enable you to get into the whole subject of a biblical material relative to the time of Jesus, what he might have studied, what the individuals in Jesus' day might have learned. That is 14 CDs, 14 30-minute videotapes that are available for you again through BibleScholars.org. Now, all of these offerings we're going to have ready and available for you in the very near future, but we're so excited about the material that we want to take these few minutes to be able to share with you what we have, what we're working on, what we're going to be able to offer to you in the very near future. Before I close, I want to just remind you again of our 1984 conference, the Foundation of the Faith Conference. Those tapes, 12 tapes, are available for you now at an introductory price. We're going to offer them to you for the time being at $39.95, which is a very inexpensive price for the material. 12 tapes again, an hour to an hour and a half issue each, that you can order directly from BibleScholars.org. Just go to our website, click on our PayPal account, and the material will be sent to you almost immediately in MP3 download. Again, I want to thank you for your attention and hope that you will find this material very beneficial and inspirational to you in the future.